In this video, I will show how to find the greatest common factor and the least common multiple of two numbers and how to use them when working with fractions. Here we have numbers 210 and 175 given to us, and in order for us to find the GCF and LCM, we have to first find the prime factorization of each of those numbers. So to find prime factorization of 175, I'm going to use the factoring tree and the rules for the divisibility. So I know that 5 goes into 175, so I'm going to divide it by 5. 5 goes into 75 35 times, and I know 35 is actually 5 times 7. So the prime factorization of 175 is 5 times 5 times 7. Now to find the prime factorization of 210, I'm also going to use a factoring tree and the rules for the divisibility. So 210 is divisible by 10, and what's left is 21, and then 10 can be further factored into 2 and 5, and 21 can be factored into 3 and 7. So I found the prime factorization for each of the numbers, and now to find the greatest common factor and least common multiple, I'm going to write the prime factorization in a certain way. So 175 is equal to 5 times 5 times 7, and 210 is equal to 2 times 3 times 5 times 7. But I'm going to write this prime factorization in such a way that the factors of 210 are lined up with factors of 175 if they match. So 210 has factors 5 and 7, but it also has factors 2 and 3, which 175 doesn't have. So now everything that matched up is now the greatest common factor. So greatest common factor of 175 and 210 is 5 times 7, 35. And the least common multiple of 175 and 210 is every factor without repetition that appeared in one or another factorization. So LCM will be equal to 5 times 7 times 2 times 3. Now, I don't have to multiply 5 by 5 by 7 by 2 by 3 because I already know that 5 times 7 is 175. So to find LCM, I just have to multiply 175 by 2 and 3, which is 6. 5 times 6 is 30, 7 times 6 is 42, plus 3 is 45. 1 times 6 is 6, plus 4 is 1050. So least common multiple of these two numbers is 1050. Now, how do I use GCF and LCM? Well, GCF is quite useful when you have to reduce a fraction. So for example, if I want to reduce 175 over 210, I will reduce it by the greatest common factor. Since 5 times 7 is the greatest common factor, that means I have to divide 175 by 35, and I also have to divide 210 by 35. Well, the good news is that I don't actually have to divide, because 175 divided by 35, it's basically taking away 5 and 7 from the prime factorization of 175. And when I take 5 and 7 from prime factorization of 175, I have 5 left. So 175 divided by 35 is 5. And when I take 35 away from the factorization of 210, I will have 2 times 3 left, which is 6. So 175 divided by 210 is the same as 5/6. Now, we use LCM to perform the operation of addition and subtraction for fractions with different denominators. So for example, if I have to perform this subtraction, so if I have to subtract 1 over 210 from 175, I first have to find the least common multiple of the denominators, called the least common denominator. So the least common denominator is 1050. So the question is now, what do I have to multiply 175 to get 1050? Well, looking at the prime factorization of 175 and 1050, I see that 175 has to be multiplied by 2 and 3, which is 6. So I multiply the numerator and the denominator of this fraction by 6. Now, what do I have to multiply 210 by to make it 1050? Well, again, looking at the prime factorization of 210, and 1050, I see that 210 has to be multiplied by 5. Therefore, the numerator also is multiplied by 5, so the overall value of the fraction is not changed. Now, we have 6 over 1050 minus 5 over 1050, which is just 1 over 1050. So here we have the answers to the part A, part B, part C, part E, part D, and part F of the question.